Hi everyone, my name is Jean-Baptiste and today I'm going to talk to you about a plugin that I developed. This plugin has been developed in the NativeScript ambassador program, which was created by Jen Looper, and I was a part of the Native Baguette team. Why? Because I'm French and my teammate Rashid was also in this team and French. We were mentored by Jose Fortune and Brad Martin. So basically, we wanted to create a plugin which allows the user to any NativeScript developer to make like native Tinder-like app to handle a stack of cards or anything and just perform swipe animation. And honestly, I didn't really wanted to do actually this. I wanted to make a plugin which allows you to do this, but not also only this thing. I wanted to make a customizable plugin which allows you just to actually handle swipe events, perform swipe animation, which I provide in the plugin, or your own. Maybe sometimes use the pen gesture, maybe sometimes not. Then sometimes perform animation from the plugin on swipe events and sometimes not. Like you can do anything you want with this plugin, and it's pretty easy to use and customizable. So let's start with the code of the plugin. So basically, the plugin is about 400 lines of code, which is pretty small, and you have only common code, so which means that you won't have any specific Android code or iOS code. No third library has been integrated, so it's pure coded by me and Rashid. So basically what we do, like what I'm going to talk about first is the first property that highlights the consumer set, which is called gesture mode. So this gesture mode will actually allows you to choose between how I will fire on the plugin side the swipe events. So you have two gesture modes. So swipe mode, which actually triggers the events swipe event through through swipe events, and on the other mode with the pan mode, I will actually handle swipe events through the pan event and actually perform my own kind of way to trigger if it's a swipe left, swipe down, swipe up, and swipe right event. So how do I do that? First of all, so it's a property which you can set through XML. So you have it just there, the gesture property with has the name gesture mode, which is on type gesture mode. So gesture mode is basically an enum which I created. Gesture mode, so you have the drag mode, which allows you to drag the layout, and the swipe, which only will trigger the swipe event. So how do you handle this? Actually, on the set when the consumer set the gesture mode, what I'm doing is basically I'm calling this method, which checks the value of the new gesture mode, which is set on the consumer side, and I just move the opposite event listener, so swipe or pan, because like this you can actually change on the fly. So your way of handling the gesture mode. So and then I will just set on pan event if it's just a drag mode, or on swipe with two different handlers, and I pass of course the scope of the class. Like this I won't have to create it will be easier to handle. So we're gonna check the pen gesture handler. So basically in the pen gesture handler I just check the state of the pen gesture event data object that I retrieve through this parameter. So you have three cases. One, this means that it's the first time that the panning event is fired. The second one is when you actually pan the view, and on the third case, it's actually when the user stops to pan the view. So this is the end actually of the event. So and another thing, why I don't just handle the both both events at the same time, and then on swipe, and then I just detect swipe event through the swipe event, and then I just do the drag gesture through the pan event. But unfortunately, it is kind of impossible because by doing only TypeScript code, because actually pan is kind of a parent of the swipe event, so like they kind of override themselves, and it's really hard to actually work with both at the same time. So that's why I decided to implement the gesture mode property. Like this, I'll just let you choose, and like this, it won't be a pain to handle this, and there won't be any bug, I hope. So basically, when the pan event starts, I'm indicating the panning, so I'm basically just getting some data that I want, like the initial coordinates of the view. Then on the pen, when the drag is currently be doing by the user, I'm going through this function, and then I just calculate the new position of the view, and then I change it to be able to actually move it, because on the pan event you just don't have your view which moves, you just have the coordinates of the move. And this time I just use translate x to be able to move the view. So this is a basic thing, not really hard to understand. And then at the end I'm just spanning it, so it's at this time which things are going to start getting interested. So basically I'm just creating the current location of the fingers on the screen. Then I build what I call a pen direction object, which is built through the class pen direction builder, pen direction builder. So basically, it's kind of a design pattern, but not really actually. But anyway, so when I build the pen direction, I just create a new pen direction, because this is not a pack direction, this is a pen direction builder. So the pen direction has two properties, two attributes: a swipe direction, which is from the tennis core modules, which is basically up, down, left, right. And then eSwipe is actually this pen direction is a swipe or is not. And so I'm doing this through the pen direction builder. So when you actually create a pen direction builder, you pass a few values that I need to calculate if it's actually a swipe event or not. So when I build it, what I want to do is create a new pen direction, which with swipe nope, because I don't know yet, so I would say no. Then I'm trying to calculate the distance which did the user with its finger when he was swiping. Then and the same thing with the vertical direction. And finally, I've just set the eSwipe attribute with a simple question, which is, oh, okay, so do I have the x distance which the user performed is bigger than the fourth of the width of the main screen, or is the vertical distance which performs the user bigger than the sixth of the screen height? It's just a way to detect if it's a swipe or not. So did he do a big distance or not? And that's it. And then, so now I detected if it was a swipe or not event. So if it's one, I try to figure out where is going, so like up, down, left, or right. So basically, if it is going horizontally, I'm just going to check if the x distance is bigger than the y distance. If it's going horizontally, I will try to find out which this time if it's going left or right. So I just have to check if the last x captured by the event is less than the first one, so which will mean that it's going left, otherwise it will go right. So once it's done, I just set the swipe direction attribute of the pen direction, which I created there, here. So like this, we have the direction, right or left, and I'm doing exactly the same thing when it's not going horizontally, so vertically. So I'm trying to figure out it's going up. So if the first, if the y distance of the beginning is bigger than 0, then it means that it goes up, and otherwise it goes down. So effectively, I just created a pen direction class which allows me to kind of know if it's swipe event. So like this on this side, it will be pretty easy for me to use it. So if it's a swipe, I just call a command handler, because at this moment I refactored the code and I just saw that basically once you know if it's a swipe event or not, the handler which will be actually the same for the both events. So there is kind of small differences between the two events, but the main handler is actually the same, so which is pretty cool. So I just created a function which take a swipe direction as a parameter, and then I'm trying to get event data that I want to give to the user through one direction. So then I'm going through this function real quick. Basically, I'm just getting the width, the height from the screen. I'm creating a new event data, swipe event data, which I created. Then I create just a boolean which tells me if I should animate it or not. Then I'm just doing the switch case from the direction that I give through the parameter. So it's down, up, left, right. So should be animated every time I have a question which returns me a boolean, like if the animation state is on events. I will talk about that later. And then if it has swipe down listener, and then the animation state or the animation state is to always, then it means that it should be animated. Event data, new swiped down event data. So I'm just giving some few value to give to the user, and basically, so I'm just trying to create an object which will describe the event data that I will give to the consumer side. And basically what I did is just a basic class which is called swipe event data, which supplements event data from the NativeScript module. So you have the event name, object, direction, origin X, origin Y, destination X, the destination Y, animated, and basically I'm just constructed this basic class like just to describe the event. And I kind of did something that I like, is just use the object-oriented coding at its finest to just like when I have a swipe event data, so this is command to any left, any direction, so like up, down, left, right, or anything. And then I just have for class which describe actually this if a swipe event data from the left, from the right, from the up, from down, up to down, or anything. And I just it's actually exactly the same class, but just I just give values to attributes directly, and like this when I instantiate one of those class, I just have directly the name, the direction, so I won't have to bother about this anymore. So basically that's it. And then I will just return the event data. Once I did that, in the command handler, what do I do? Yes, so I just get the event data if it's animated. So I say actually, do I have to animate the view or not? Actually, I'll tell you more about the animation state later. So basically, I just perform the animation, which is in the function swipe, and then I'm notifying the consumer side with the event data that I created before. Otherwise, I just throw a new error. And if it's not animated, I just say to the view, like, go back to the center because like you are dragged but you are not so a swipe event, so just get back where you were. And then I just identify the user with the event data. So this is the center back animation yes, animation. So basically now I'm going to talk about the animation state. So which is here, you have animation state, which is an enum that which I created. You can set the property to always. So like on any swipe event, you will have animation performed, even if you don't have any callbacks on them or anything. It will just perform an animation no matter what. On events means that if you have a callback, for example, on the swipe event left property, you will have only animation on the swipe event left property. And finally, if you set your animation state property to never, you won't have any animation. You will just be able to detect any swipe events as you want. So why I'm doing that is just that, as I said, I wanted to be the plugin to be as customizable as anybody wants, but also easy to use. So like, if basically for me, if you want to perform swipe left animation and swipe right animation, for me you will always put callback on them. So why? So like why would I perform animation on when it's going up or down or anything? So that's just the way I saw it, to be able to customize that. So of course you can see that all animation function are public, so which means that you can override through the consumer code and then just customize the swipe animation. Remember that if you actually override one of the function, you have to override this one, because this one is used on this one, and this one. Like, you don't have to do that, but you have to think about that swipe, the swipe function returns an animation. So anyway, so basically you can override this, and you just have to set the function which returns the promise, which is actually just an animation from NativeScript. You just return the animation that you want with the duration, the curve, the destination, or the opacity, or anything you want. If you just want to change the opacity of the view, you can do that too. So I think I'm pretty done. Yes, I didn't show you the swipe handler. So like, as I told you, when I set the gesture mode, if it's not on pan gesture type, it will be on swipe gesture type. And to handle this, I just have basically a swipe gesture handler, which is actually just the common handler. I don't even know why I created this, but as I said before, it's actually the main. Once you know if it's a swipe event or not, the handler is actually the same. So which is pretty cool. Like this, I don't have to record anything and just refactored, which is pretty cool. Anyway, I think that's it. I showed you this. Yes, I showed you everything, I think. Okay. So if you have any question, you can contact me through Twitter or GitHub or anything. You can check out the plugin on npm or on GitHub. I will provide links in the description. If I also have two different plugins. One's called NativeScript bottom bar, which allows you to make a menu on the bottom of your app, also on iOS and on Android. Sorry. And please, like, if you tried the plugin and liked it, just leave it a star. It always feels good. I also have the plugin Fancy Calendar, which is not production ready at all. Like, I really have to work on this one, because the third library that I integrate are pretty different and hard to integrate. So I have some hours to spend on this. So, but if you liked it anyway, leave it a star. The same thing. So I would like to thank particularly all the team, Rashid, Brad Martin, Jose Fortune, and Jen Looper for the program. To see you.